What if I told you that boring car sitting in your garage could be worth 50,000 euros? Cars nobody wanted are now selling for Ferrari money. The econobox everyone laughed at? Collectors are fighting over them. These aren't supercars or limited editions, they're regular cars that became gold mines, and number one turned a 3,000 euro beater into a 180,000 euro treasure. Back in 1992, the Corrado VR6 was a sales disaster. VW wanted to sell 10,000 per year in America. They barely moved 5,000. In Europe, dealers couldn't give them away. Too expensive for a VW, not prestigious enough to justify the price. Production died in 1995 with just 97,521 built worldwide. Fast forward to 2025, clean VR6 Corrados sell for 35,000 euros. Low mileage examples, 45,000 euros. The Storm Edition in green, one sold for 58,000 euros at auction. That's Porsche money for what was essentially a fancy Golf. Why the explosion? That VR6 engine became legendary. The narrow-angle V6 sounds like nothing else. Tuners love them. The design aged perfectly, still looks modern 30 years later. But mainly, no one saved them. Most got modified, crashed, or scrapped. Finding an unmolested one is like finding a unicorn. A German owner bought his in 2010 for 4,500 euros as a daily driver. He just sold it for 42,000 euros. That's 837% appreciation. His neighbor with the sensible BMW lost money. Sometimes the weird choice wins. Renault built the Clio Williams to celebrate their Formula 1 victory. Just 3,800 for Phase 1. Another 1,600 for Phase 2. Nobody cared. It was a tarted up economy car with gold wheels. Dealers struggled to shift them at 18,000 euros new. Many sat unsold for months. Those gold wheels are now worth 2,000 euros alone. Complete cars? Phase 1 models trade for 40 to 55,000 euros. Phase 2 reaches 35 to 45,000. One pristine Phase 1 with delivery mileage sold for 71,000 euros. For a Clio. Let that sink in. The recipe was perfect. Genuine motorsport pedigree. Limited numbers. Most importantly, they got used hard. Young owners thrashed them, crashed them, modified them. Survivors are rare. Really rare. UK insurance data shows only 341 Phase 1s left from 1,200 originally sold there. A French mechanic kept one in his barn since 1996. His wife nagged him to sell that old Renault. He finally listed it in 2024, sold it in 6 hours for 52,000 euros. His wife doesn't complain about his car hoarding anymore. BMW's design team called it the clown shoe. Journalists mocked the bizarre proportions. Sales were dismal, just 6,318 worldwide over 4 years. BMW dealers literally begged people to test drive them. Many refused to stock them at all. The joke's on everyone who laughed. Today, S54 engine models command 80 to 100,000 euros. Even the lesser S50 and S52 versions fetch between 50 and 70,000. One owner examples with full history? Name your price. A Dakar yellow individual model sold for 127,000 euros. Why? Because BMW accidentally built a future classic. The weird shape is now iconic. The driving experience is raw in ways modern M cars aren't, and those production numbers are tiny. Finding one that hasn't been modified or tracked is nearly impossible. A dentist in Munich bought one new in 2001 for 67,000 Deutschmark, or 34,000 euros. His friends mocked him relentlessly. He just sold it with 31,000 kilometers for 95,000 euros. That's 179% appreciation, while his friend's sensible M3s barely held value. The 205 GTI was everywhere in the 1990s. Every boy racer had one. Insurance companies hated them. Police knew them by sight. They were crashed, stolen, and modified into oblivion. By 2010, you could buy rough ones for 500 euros. Then everything changed. Clean 1.9 GTIs now sell for between 25 and 35,000 euros. Pristine examples hit 45,000 euros. The rare F1 limited edition, 65,000 euros if you can find one. Phase 1 1.6 models in original condition command €30,000 for a car that costs $12,000 new. The transformation is staggering. French registration data shows 31,205 GTIs in 2005. By 2020, just 2,100. They vanished. Survivors became instant collectibles. The driving experience, pure, mechanical, visceral, can't be replicated in modern cars. A UK seller bought a rough 1.9 for £800 in 2012 as a project. Never restored it, just kept it dry. Sold it unrestored for £18,000 in 2024. That's a 2,150% return for doing literally nothing but waiting. The Delta Integrale dominated rallying but bombed in showrooms. Expensive to buy, expensive to run, expensive to fix. Lancia dealers were rare. Parts were rarer. Most buyers chose easier options. Total production? Around 44,000 over many variants. Today's reality is shocking. Standard 16V models trade at 40 to 60,000 euros. Evolution models reach 70 to 90,000. The final Evolution 2? 100 to 130,000 euros. One Martini 6 edition sold for 180,000 euros. That's Lamborghini territory for a hot hatch. Why the insanity? Well, they're all gone. Rust ate most. Rally wannabes crashed the rest. Finding one that's complete, original, and rust-free is like winning the lottery. Italian registration shows 80% attrition rate. What remains is fought over globally. A Belgian enthusiast bought 6 rusty examples in 2008 for 15,000 euros total. Everyone laughed. He restored one, kept 5 for parts. Just sold the restored one for 75,000 euros and still has 5 shells worth 10,000 euros each in parts. Sometimes hoarding works. Ford built 4,501 Focus RS Mark Is. They struggled to sell them at £23,000. Too hardcore, too blue, too expensive for a Ford. Dealers pre-registered hundreds to hit targets. Some sat unsold for over a year. The market flipped completely. Good examples now command 40 to 50,000 pounds. Exceptional ones reach 60 to 70,000. One with 1,000 miles sold for 83,000 pounds. That's 260% appreciation for a Focus, a Ford Focus. So what happened? Everything that made them hard to sell makes them collectible. That imperial blue is iconic. The Larry styling aged brilliantly. Most importantly, they got used properly. UK MOT data shows average survivors have 120,000 miles. Low mileage examples are unicorns. An Irish farmer bought one in 2003 because it was discontinued to clear. Used it twice a year. Forgot about it in his barn. Discovered it during COVID cleanout. Sold it for 67,000 euros with 2,800 miles. His investment portfolio lost money. His forgotten Ford made him rich. VW built the R32 to compete with Subaru and Mitsubishi. It failed. Too subtle, too expensive at 38,000 euros, no giant wing or vents. Sales disappointed. Many sat in dealerships until heavily discounted. Total production around 10,000 for Europe. Those subtle R32s now trade for serious money. Clean examples fetch 30 to 40,000 euros. Low mileage ones hit 50,000 euros. One-owner cars with full history command whatever sellers ask. That subtle styling aged like wine. The secret weapon? That 3.2 VR6 engine. Naturally aspirated in a turbo world. That exhaust note is pure addiction. Manual gearboxes are gold. Most were DSG. Finding an unmodified manual R32 is near impossible. When one appears, bidding wars erupt. A German student stretched finances to buy one in 2004. His parents called him irresponsible. He babied it for 20 years. 35,000 kilometers total. Just sold it for 48,000 euros. His sensible friends who bought property? Still paying mortgages. Sometimes irresponsible wins. Renault's Sport Spider was insane. No roof, no windows initially, just a plastic shell with an engine. They built 1,600 total. Price? 35,000 euros in 1996. For a Renault with no weather protection, sales were predictably terrible. Today, those plastic oddities are gold. Windscreen versions trade at 60 to 80,000 euros. The rare no-screen models? 90 to 120,000 euros. One perfect example sold for 140,000 euros. That's 300% appreciation for a car nobody understood. Why the cult status? Nothing else like it exists. It's barely a car, more like a street-legal race car. The driving experience is raw beyond belief, and they're impossibly rare. Many got tracked and crashed. Finding untouched examples requires detective work. A French dealer took one as a trade-in for €8,000 in 2009. Couldn't sell it. Used it as a courtesy car. Customers complained. Stuck it in storage. Found it during renovation in 2023. Sold it instantly for €85,000. Sometimes forgotten inventory becomes treasure. Honda's S2000 was too hardcore for most buyers. 9,000 RPM redline scared people. No torque below 6,000 RPM frustrated others. Insurance was brutal. Sales struggled despite rave reviews. Many sat unsold until discontinued in 2009. The market transformation is remarkable. Clean AP1 models command 30 to 40,000 euros. Pristine AP2s reach 45 to 55,000 euros. Limited editions like the GT hit 70,000 euros. One-owner cars with low mileage? Whatever you want to pay. That VTEC engine became legendary. The gear shift is perfection. Nothing modern comes close to the example, but most got modified or tracked. Finding stock examples is tough, really tough. When clean ones appear, multiple buyers fight over them. A Portuguese owner bought a tired one for 12,000 euros in 2015, spent weekends restoring it meticulously, just sold it for 47,000 euros. His labor of love became his best investment. Sometimes passion pays better than portfolios. The Alpine A610 was a complete flop. Expensive, weird looking, terrible Renault dealer network. They built just 818 between 1991 and 1995. Many sat unsold for years. Dealers gave huge discounts just to clear inventory. Some sold for half price. Those 818 oddities are now holy grails. Good examples trade at 70 to 90,000 euros. Excellent ones breach 100,000 euros. One museum quality example sold for 180,000 euros. That's a 3,000 euro parts car becoming Ferrari money. Why the insanity? Alpine's resurrection made everything Alpine collectible. The A610 was the last real Alpine before the brand died. That turbo V6 is brilliant. The handling is telepathic, and finding one is nearly impossible. Maybe 400 survive globally. The ultimate story. A French mechanic bought a damaged one for 3,000 euros in 2005. Everyone said he was crazy. Spent years sourcing parts. Full restoration. Just sold it to a Japanese collector for 145,000 euros. His 3,000 euro gamble became a 145,000 euro reality. These 10 cars share DNA. They were sales flops, too expensive, too weird, or too hardcore when new. Most got used hard and discarded. Survivors became rare. Then nostalgia kicked in, and suddenly everyone wants what nobody saved. The lesson? Today's unloved cars are tomorrow's collectibles. That weird model nobody understands? That might be the one. The sales flop gathering dust? Could be gold. Sometimes the market is wrong. Sometimes weird wins. But here's the warning. For every Corrado VR6, there are 50 Vauxhall Vectras worth nothing. Collecting requires research, instinct, and luck. Most cars just became old. These 10 became legends. What's hiding in your garage? What unloved car do you think will explode in value? Share your predictions below. And if you want more automotive gold mines, hit subscribe for the cars to buy before prices explode.